All right, so this next story is about a possible encounter with a shadow being, written by somebody named Hypnotic BBX. So let's get to it. So let me start by saying I am not 100% certain that what I experienced was indeed a paranormal encounter. Good way to start. As this story and others like this involve things that I have seen while experiencing sleep paralysis. So most of the time, sleep paralysis is just your conscious mind wakes up, but the part of your brain that you see when you go to sleep, it shuts down. All right, your ability to consciously move and really to move. And so a lot of people will wake up while their body stays asleep. This is not uncommon. That doesn't mean that it couldn't also be caused by something physically restraining you or affecting your body. It simply means that the most likely possibility when you're experiencing sleep paralysis is physical and not paranormal. Anyway, if you experience sleep paralysis, then you probably have some idea what I'm talking about. I experienced it once. I know what you're talking about, yeah. I do believe that even though SP, sleep paralysis, might have a scientific explanation behind why it happens, no, there are scientific explanations. It's been scientifically proven that the conscious mind can wake up. The mind can awaken while the body stays in a sleep state, and you can be fully conscious and aware but not able to move. It's there's nothing paranormal required for that state. Anyway, I believe this sleep paralysis has a connection with the spirit world. Well, it could have a paranormal cause, but most cases no. In some way or another, but nonetheless, you will find this story interesting. Well, that remains to be seen. Don't tell me what I'm going to find interesting. Okay, I tell me what I'm going to find interesting. Okay, you don't know what I'm going to find interesting. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but don't tell me, all right? Anyway, this happened to me roughly 3 years ago. I'm in the military, and at that time, I lived in unaccompanied personnel housing on base with a roommate. Uh-huh. Well, that sounds like that would suck. It's cheap, though. It's a good way to save money. So when you get into the military, you can actually have free housing, just living in the barracks, or you can get rental housing with a roommate that's cheaper than if you were to go and rent your own apartment off base. And you can also rent houses on base, but I believe you can only do that if you are married. So there's limitations to the type of housing you can get on a military base. I know this because I grew up with father in the military. So anyway, but I would think there would be one bedrooms or something. I guess he's trying to save money. I wouldn't want to live with a roommate, though. Fuck that. So my room was kind of like a dorm room. Ugh, jeez, I really don't like it. With rough blue carpeting where we had to use room keys to access our room. Wow. Sounds really, sounds like crap. It sounds like a dump. But anyway, the room had 2 twin-sized beds. See, each had a key to a room. Did the rooms have bathrooms, or did they have a communal bathroom? Sounds like a dorm. But even some dorm rooms in universities have bathrooms. It depends on how much you're willing to pay. Anyway, 2 twin-sized beds. One of them was to the left as soon as you walk in with its respectable dresser and table. The one thing about a sucky room like this, where you're having to share a fucking room with somebody, is that you have no privacy. You want to bang broads or, dudes, since the military is now progressive, you're out of luck. I mean, unless you're like an audience. Our beds were separated by 2 movable closets. That's not going to do very much to provide you privacy, though, if you want to bring a significant other home. For privacy, it might provide visual privacy, but not auditory, and my bed was at the far side of the room near the window. Anyhow, the story continues by saying, across from my bed was my dresser, up against the wall, with the door leading to the bathroom next to it. Okay, say they had their own bathroom. At least there's that. We also had a fridge to the right as you walk in, with a microwave on top of it. So it didn't have a full kitchen, but at least it had a microwave so you could nuke Hot Pockets and shit, huh? Lovely. Now that we have a mental picture of what the room looks like. Yeah, you mean you, meaning the audience, because you already have a mental picture, so you don't need to say we. You shouldn't be saying we. But anyway, now that you have a mental picture of what the room looks like, we can continue on to the good part of the story. Oh. Is it the good part? And is this just a story? Or is it actually, an accounting of real occurrences? I was all alone in my room one night, lying near my bed. Okay. I fall asleep only to open my eyes and find myself on my back, unable to move. Okay. It was dark. I would assume you don't sleep with the lights on. And there was a bit of ambient light peeking into the window blinds coming from the street light outside the lobby. Everything seemed hazy and fuzzy. I immediately knew what was happening and remained calm. Sleep paralysis, I thought to myself. All of a sudden, I see a very dark, murky shadow figure leaning over top my dresser, about 9 feet in front of me. Well, the room's quite a bit bigger than I initially thought. Okay. All right, I sensed that it didn't have a malevolent energy attached to it, nor a benevolent energy. Well, well, your senses, what good are they? You're half asleep, and let's be honest here, all right? You're not always going to sense whether someone or something has a malevolent or benevolent intention, all right? So you don't know. I guarantee you, a murky shadow figure doesn't have your best interests at heart, okay? I think we can assume malevolent if it is paralyzing you, okay? That's malevolent. Oh, well, somebody kidnapped me and tied me up. But, I don't think they was malevolent or benevolent. No, this is definitely malevolent. Okay, pal? Something doesn't constrain you, confine you, in a sense, effectively tie you up and mean you well. All right? Anyway, it was just observing me, probably watching me while I was sleeping. Well, why can't you move then? And what do you think? Your sleep paralysis is just occurring coincidentally at the same time that this dark shadow being appears in your room, but you don't know whether it's malevolent or benevolent? Try to say that 10 fucking times. I think it's malevolent, pal. I don't think it's a coincidence you can't move. If you think something's stopping you from being able to move, isn't something you can read as malevolent, well, I think you don't understand the real world very well. It felt like I was peering into another dimension, only to see this thing. Okay. Well, you're definitely viewing something from another dimension or realm. These shadow beings, as they are often called, are not from this world, that's for sure. I had some crystals set up around my bed for protection. Oh, geez. Oh, here we go. This stuff almost always happens, not always, but it very often happens to these people. People who dabble in the occult. People who dabble in things they don't understand. People who dabble in things that they just see as benign and harmless. I'm going to fuck around with crystals and divining rods and maybe a Ouija board or two, but that's okay. It's just a game. It's not real. Oh, really? And then you wake up and you can't move and there's a big giant shadow at the foot of your fucking bed. So that's why I assumed it didn't get any closer to me. Well, you don't know. You don't know. All right? But anyway, after I see the shadow figure, I begin to feel my heart racing and began to breathe heavily. I don't think how much were the crystals actually doing if this thing could paralyze you, pal? I don't think the crystals are doing very much, okay? It was more likely your belief that they were having some effect or doing something in the moment of you waking up that held it at bay more than anything else. I mean, if these crystals actually protected you, then why can't you move? Anyway, after about 5 seconds or so, it slowly stands up. Stands up? What the hell was it doing? It was crouching or some shit? It was sitting down? What the fuck? It stands up. It didn't tell us it wasn't standing. Oy vey. Seemingly growing in height. Yeah, it wants to appear ominous. Yeah. Oh, but I don't know. It don't feel malevolent. Yeah. And you're in the military? I would think your ability to accurately assess a threat would be better than this. Its head was almost touching the ceiling at this point. Well, I don't know how high your fucking ceiling is. If you got a 6-foot ceiling, that ain't too impressive. If you got a 9-foot ceiling, then that's pretty impressive. I don't know. Anyway, then it begins to slowly walk towards my fridge by the door leading out to the hallway. Maybe it's hungry. Maybe it wants a snack. I don't know. I don't know. Can these things eat? No. Well, they don't eat the same shit we do anyway. Anyhow, the weirdest thing happened. Once it reached the fridge, it walked into the fridge. Could be a portal in the fridge. Walked into the fridge as if it were some kind of portal. That it had originally come from. Could be because there is a portal where your fridge is. It bent down to walk into the door of the fridge. Really? Interesting. With one leg hanging out. Okay. That's an interesting little detail. And just froze there for a second. What the fuck? Okay, that's bizarre. That's a weird little fucking detail that, generally speaking, you wouldn't expect from a story somebody made up. That doesn't mean it's true or real or this actually happened, but that is strange. Yeah. Bent down to walk into the door of the fridge. One leg hanging out, and then just froze there for a second. Then I woke up. I thought you were already awake. Only to stare at the same point where I saw the shadow figure and nothing was there. So you were able to move immediately after it left the room. So it was able to affect you physically. It was able to paralyze you. It was able to stop you from moving. It was able to make you into something that was not a threat. While at the same time, it could be a threat to you. Made you essentially helpless at the same time that it was passing in and out of this portal. Interesting. Many other weird things prior to this occurrence would happen within the room. Like coming back from work to find my roommate's TV on. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Feeling drained, even sensing a presence in the corner by my fridge all the time. Yeah, so you got a portal in your room. So portals can be open for a number of reasons. People fucking around with the occult, people fucking around with divination tools, and these things have to be able to get to you somehow. So if you invite something in, if you call it, if you summon it by using these divination tools, as it were, this can open a portal into your space, into your personal space, into your room, into your apartment, into your house, which is oftentimes why these kind of phenomenon are localized to a very specific point in time and space, because that's where the portal is located. Anyway, even sensing the presence in the corner by my fridge all the time. That's fucking freaky. And hearing whispering in my ear as I lay in bed. So what you have to understand about these shadow beings, as people refer to them, they're not from here. So this realm is very different than the one that these kind of shadow beings come from. While they may or may not, and I would lean toward not, need to feed on human bioenergy, as it were, to survive in this realm, they certainly enjoy it. And the way that they're able to feed on people is one way: fear, frighten them. Fear tends to open a person up to the force that they are obsessing over, fearful over. Fear is one tool that they use. You're feeling this presence all the time. TVs are on. Shit might be moved around. Something's whispering in your fucking ear. It's trying to frighten you, fuck with you, so that it can eventually feed on you and maybe potentially, depending on what it is and how powerful it is, possess you. It's called the oppressive phase. And it doesn't always advance to that point. But anyway, yeah, you're whispering in bed. That's fucked up. This encounter, and it sounds like this guy, he's not telling us, but he has crystals around his bed. It sounds like he dabbles in the occult. This encounter I had while experiencing sleep paralysis solidified this notion. If you read up to this point, I hope you enjoyed reading this, and let me know below if you have any stories or of shadow figure encounters. Thanks a bunch. He doesn't even sound worried or concerned. This is something I have a problem with. This is not good, okay? You're feeling drained because something's feeding on you, okay? You're a fucking gourmet meal, all right? You're a food, you're a dish that is tastier and more nourishing than what it gets from where it comes from, okay? And sometimes its main goal is eventually to possess you, though that's not always the case. You've got something that's paralyzed you in your sleep. There's a portal in your fucking apartment. And you're all fascinated by this shit. No. Don't be fascinated by this stuff. Be concerned. Be very concerned to do something proactive to stop this. And don't fuck around with occult paraphernalia. Be it crystals or any of that shit. Divination or witchcraft or rituals. Any of that stuff. Stay the fuck away from it, all right? I have a healthy enough understanding of this stuff to know that it's fucking around with these kind of occult practices that directly leads to these kind of occurrences, either to the person who themselves is messing around with the occult or somebody who comes along later and is the victim of somebody who was messing around with the occult. Anyway, so there you go. There you go. Another example of what happens when you mess with the occult. I would say the sleep paralysis, in this case, if I believe what he said, was directly caused by this entity, and you should be concerned, okay? Okay? If you're waking up and you can't move, and you see a big giant 9 or 10 foot fucking shadow being in a dark room, and it's so fucking dark that in a dark room you can see the outline of this figure, just roughly humanoid, and it looks, normal size until you realize it was crouching the fuck down, and then stands up, and its head touches the fucking ceiling, but not really, because it's totally, completely incorporeal. And it's so fucking dark that you can see it in a dark room, and you can't move. Be afraid. Be concerned. Be concerned at the very freaking least, and stop messing around what you're messing around with, and do something to stop these kind of things. Doesn't sound like this guy did anything, though. Doesn't sound like he did anything to close this portal, to exercise whatever negative energy had built up in this place, whatever energy had built up that was attracting this to begin with, making this locale more attractive, making him more attractive. He's making himself more open to being fed upon, to be victimized by such creatures. Just, this is just all so fascinating to me. It's all so interesting. An attitude which, by the way, further opens you up to being influenced and fed upon by these kind of entities, since your mindset, to a great extent, governs just how much access they can or cannot get to you. Another thing that has an effect on that is, of course, your physical health. But anyway, let me know what you think. Is this guy a fool to be fascinated with these types of scenarios and occurrences? Is he playing with fire, as are most people who screw with the occult? Or is this just all so cool and interesting, and oh yeah, I wish that happened to me? Oh, yeah, let me know in the comment section, and please like and subscribe to my channel. And let me know what you think in the comment section. Anyhow, I am Marcus, and I wish you a good and pleasant day. Take care.